everybody. Let's do this. Here we go.
Hello Musketeers, welcome to Mondays with Mickey. My name is Mike Knigge, I am your host, and this week we're going to talk a little bit about some Disney news. There's been a lot going on with Walt Disney World and with the Disney company in general. And, I thought maybe this week would be a good opportunity to kind of touch base on some of these items that have been kind of popping up over the last few weeks. So I'm going to start off with some news. It's actually current news. It's just happened. Unfortunately, it's sad news. So I'll start out with the bad stuff and work into the good stuff so we end on a high note. For those of you who are familiar with Figment and the Dreamfinder and that whole ride from Epcot, Figment, obviously a beloved character, for those who love Epcot. It is a park-specific character as opposed to a character that, popped up in one of Disney's movies or something like that. But with Figment comes a character called the Dreamfinder. And the original voice actor for the Dreamfinder has actually just passed away. His name, and I apologize if I'm looking over because I want to make sure I get certain information correctly, and I scrolled a little farther than I should have. His name is Chuck McCann. Alright, he died at the age of 83 today. He is the voice of Dreamfinder. He is the voice that so many people grew up going to Epcot and going to see Figment and that ride. They identify with that voice. They know that voice just as well as they know that purple little dragon. So it's kind of a sad day for Epcot fans and fans of Dreamfinder. Along with that happened today. There is positive things that happened today too, but we'll get to that. Start with the other piece of negative. The next thing I want to talk about is something that's kind of had a lot of controversy around it a little bit. There's a lot of hardcore Disney fans, particularly Walt Disney World fans, that have been kind of up in arms for a few weeks, and that is over the parking fees. Okay, so Walt Disney World traditionally didn't have parking fees. If you're staying at your resort, it was just considered complimentary. Now, they had parking fees at the parks, but if you're staying at the resort, they always treated the parking fees as complimentary. Well, Walt Disney World decided to change that recently. Now, Disneyland has always charged for parking, but Walt Disney World decided to finally follow suit along with its competitors like Universal and SeaWorld, and is now doing a parking fee. Now, this parking fee is interesting because it is priced based off of where you're staying. So, your value resorts, I believe they're doing $13 a day. Your moderate resorts are doing $15 a day, and deluxe resorts are eating it at $24 a day. Now, this has got a lot of people in uproar because, they're already paying a bunch of money to stay at Walt Disney World, and why would they want to pay more? So, a lot of people are kind of frustrated with this. And, as a person whose family goes to Walt Disney World, we drive to Walt Disney World, I totally relate to this. We got in with our trip this September before the cutoff where they started charging. So we lucked out this trip. But the next trip, we're going to have to really sit down and decide, do we want to drive to Walt Disney World or do we want to take a train? One thing I noticed, we were looking at hotel rooms around Walt Disney World, off property, with the thought process of, coming in a day early. But one of the things I noticed And I can't help but wonder if it's because of the parking fees that a lot of these hotels around Walt Disney World seem abnormally busy, or busier when it comes to bookings. And it got me wondering, are people staying off property now because they don't want to pay those parking fees? It's entirely possible. You can find really good deals at some of these hotels off property. Now, granted, you lose the perks of free parking at the parks. You lose the perks of the, the Magical Express, the extra magic hours and things like that. But these parking fees are for overnight fees. So if somebody is being creative, they could stay off property, come drive in, park at a resort during the day, use not Magical Express, but use the transportation to go to the parks, get in their car and drive back to their other hotel. Now it's a little extra driving, but they could get out of fees that way. So I can't help but wonder if maybe people are looking at ways of getting around those parking fees. It's kind of interesting. One thing that did strike me, if that's the case, one of the reasons Walt Disney World went so far as to, create their own resorts, their own hotels on property, and to do the magical, the resort, transportations beyond monorail, things like the buses and the ferries and things like that, is they wanted to keep people on property. Their goal was, hey, we got them here, let's keep them here. Let's keep them in that magic bubble so they'll spend money here. I can't help but wonder if people are now finding ways around the parking situation, if maybe this is actually going to hurt that whole mentality of keep them here. If I'm being charged extra to stay on property, but I can find a way around that, what's the point in staying on property? So, it'd be interesting over the next year or so to see how that affects, people staying on property at Walt Disney World, and if that's something that might go back on. So, that's the last of the negative news, guys. We have nothing but positive stuff moving forward. One thing that I'm really excited to talk about is the first addition to Pandora since Pandora opened. Now, for those of you who are familiar with the movies, those who've gone to Pandora at Walt Disney World, you've already encountered the Mech Suits. Basically, they're big robot suits that people get into in the movie Avatar. Sorry, computer. They're big robot suits that they get into so they can travel around the world of Pandora and not be completely, exposed and naked to the wildlife that could just eat them up like candy. Those suits are military in design, so when they came up with the world of Pandora, the world of Avatar, they had one suit out in front of the gift shop. It's called Wind Traders, and it's kind of a relic of the old days when the military, human military presence was a big thing in Pandora. And it's kind of like it's a yard ornament. It's a great thing to take pictures with, but it doesn't move around, doesn't do anything. Let's face it, it's a movie. They really don't move around and do anything. It was all, movie magic that made that a thing. Well, Disney decided that's not good enough. We're in Pandora. Yeah, we can't put avatars out there walking around because that's just beyond our technology. However, the robot mech suits are not beyond their technology. So, yesterday, I believe it was, Disney unleashed in their first tests their own mech suit for Pandora. Now, this one's different from the one that's out in front of Wind Traders. This one looks like something out of Alien, to be honest with you. The one that Ripley was, walking around in, fighting the alien. But this one, the whole concept behind this one is they want it to look like something that scientists on Pandora might be using to help them safely traverse, the wilderness of Pandora to explore and learn about those societies and, the animal life and the plant life and things like that. So it's a mech suit that kind of puts them on more of an even playing field on Pandora without giving that military feel. And what they've now done is they've created this mech suit that somebody will drive around and do meet and greets and kind of street atmosphere type stuff, talking to guests as they walk through the world of Pandora. You can find a video of it on YouTube. I believe Walt Disney World News Today did a video of it. As I understand, this program is supposed to officially go live on the 22nd of this month, but they're doing tests now just to see how well it goes. And it's pretty cool. My son saw a clip of it, and he was just floored with how realistic this thing looked. And, you know, for those of you who are fans of Universal, you'd be like, oh, well, they've done Transformers for a long time. Mech suits aren't anything new. It's true. But for Disney, this is something different, and it's pretty cool. So, looking forward to seeing it in person. Hopefully it survives and it becomes a thing. But I would highly encourage you to go on YouTube. You're already on YouTube watching me right now. And just look it up. I'm not sure what it's named. But again, you know, they're out there. Just, you know, you can put Pandora Mech Suits or something like that, and I'm sure it'll pop up. So, on to next piece of news. And I apologize, I keep glancing over here because I have kind of my stuff over here. I'm trying to pay attention to it and make sure I talk about everything I want to talk about. So, the next thing is something they released today. It is new Magic Bands. Alright, you know, everyone's kind of like, okay, yeah, new Magic Bands, whatever. What's the point? Well, they released some Pixar-themed Magic Bands, you know, in anticipation for Toy Story Land. You know, they have a Toy Story Walt Disney World Magic Band that kind of shows Toy Story Land around it. You know, the characters and the blocks and things like that. They released a Monsters University one. Now, this one just says Mike and Sully on either side, right? And it's kind of that blue color. But this is something different. And they've done this with two of the new Magic Bands. For those of you who are aware of Magic Band 2.0, and really even Magic Band 1.0, they had the Mickey ears in the center. Almost kind of like a watch face, right? You know, it's something traditional. They all have it. It's kind of the puck in the center because the puck can be removed and you can put it into other things. This and the other one in this release is the first one to replace the Mickey ear puck and put the logo of whatever the band is themed after in the center. So in this case, it's got the Monsters University logo, like the actual university logo in the center instead of the Mickey ears, which is kind of cool. They've also done a Up theme band where it has, you know, the different characters, the young characters from Up. You know, Carl as a kid and whatnot. And then it's got the grape soda pin on the other side. Really cool. This is not one of the ones with the new top, but it's still, I mean, it's themed really well with the coloring. You know, it's got Spirit Adventure written on it. It's pretty cool. Let's see. Next up is another one of the ones with the centerpiece. And it is a Cars-themed one. You know, it's got the Piston Cup, it's got 95, it's got Tow Mater on the other side, and in the center it's got the basic Cars logo up top. And of course it's got the Rusty's brand right there at the edge. See, and the next one, to me this is the coolest one of them all. It doesn't have the little top piece. It's fine. But for me, this is probably the coolest of the Magic Bands that they've released today. It is a Wall-E-themed Magic Band. Now, my son is going to flip his lid when he sees this. And basically, they've depicted the scene where Wall-E and Eve are outside of the ship, and they're flying around. You know, Wall-E's using the fire extinguisher, and Eve's just flying. And it's just got them flying around. You've got the little spray of fire extinguisher going across like a stripe. You know, you've got the ship in the background. It's kind of like a shadow. And then they've got Wall-E and Eve up there in front. It's a black Magic Band with like stars on it. The top part is black. I mean, it's pretty sharp looking. I'm kind of excited about that. I need to see how much they're going to be. My guess is it's probably going to be like any of the other ones. Up there it is. Actually, I just found it. It's $22.99. So I have to decide whether I really want that or not. They're cool. They're really cool. I highly encourage you to check it out. The Diz boards, if you're familiar with the Diz Unplugged and things like that, they have a release that shows all the pictures. Yeah, I was gonna crop it in here and get it there so you can see it, but if you want more information, right now the Diz boards is showing that stuff. So very cool stuff. Next up, let's talk about Woody's Lunchbox. Now, this upcoming summer, Toy Story Land's opening. And one of the restaurants that they're going to open is, or the restaurant they're going to open for Toy Story Land is going to be a place called Woody's Lunchbox. Apparently they're going to have a breakfast and then they're going to have a regular all-day type menu. So, excuse me. I'm going to go over some of these items that they've got. And I'm going to be looking over here, looking back, because, again, I got to read this stuff, and there's a lot to kind of get out there. And I haven't memorized it yet. I just saw it, and I was like, you know what, let's do this now. Let's get it out right now. So, first things up is a s'mores French toast breakfast sandwich, which looks like it's heart attack on a plate. It says, oozy goodness in chocolate ganache and marshmallow stuffed French toast topped with graham cracker crumbles inspired by the classic American campfire treat. Yeah, death by plate. All right. Looks good, though. I mean, it definitely looks sweet. I mean, how can you go wrong? S'mores and French toast. Yeah. Next up is a smoked turkey and egg Swiss with provolone and onions on sourdough. It looks pretty good. You know, just basically a sandwich. You can get them in most places. Let's see. They've got a breakfast bowl, which is, it says the Green Army men line up for this hearty bowl of potato barrels, brisket country gravy, and scrambled eggs. It's a breakfast bowl. All right, going into some of these lunch things, they've got the barbecue brisket melt. Now, this looks flippin' tasty. With a nod to Cowboy Woody, this Texas-style smoked brisket features cheddar, Monterey Jack pickles, barbecue sauce on a garlic butter grilled sourdough. Yeah, I think that's my lunch. That or this next one. The next one just looks like another heart attack on a plate, but it looks good. The Montecristo with raspberry jam. It's Woody's version of the classic sandwich. Has layers of ham, turkey, Swiss, and raspberry jam, and is grilled golden brown. If you've ever had a Montecristo, this is a little different. It's not really fried per se, but it does look really good. It's a hot ham and Swiss essentially, but then they're adding raspberry jam, which is to me is weird. I'm tempted to make one of these at home just to see if the concept even something I'd like, but it sounds interesting. It might be worth trying. We'll see if it's still there when we get there. Tachos. Tachos are potato barrels. In other words, tater tots. Corn chips, chili cheese. What's not to love? It's basically just a bowl. It's, the picture shows tater tots, chili cheese, corn chips, shredded cheddar, and then it looks like sour cream and some chives on top. I'm not sure why the description doesn't mention the sour cream, but the picture shows it, so I would imagine it's on there. Some of the sides that they're offering that you can get with these meals include like tomato basil soup, vegetable macaroni salad, potato barrels, in other words, tater tots, mini Baby Bell snack cheese, which my son's going to love, which is actually, incidentally, apparently it's the official snack cheese of Walt Disney World Resort, which I need to mention to my son. I think he'll flip his lid. It'll mind blow him. That's about it. That's the main sides that they offer. Let's see. They got some other stuff here. They've got a raspberry lunchbox tart garnished with icing, dried fruit, chocolate hazelnut lunchbox tart garnished with icing and caramelized bacon. Basically, these look like really thin Pop-Tarts. Not sure how I feel about it. It says, even toys need a sweeter treat inspired by breakfast toaster pastries, aka Pop-Tarts. This modern interpretation with its uniquely delicate crust is a perfect handheld pastry. Yeah, they look basically, if your Pop-Tarts like this normally, right? These things look like they're like that. So, Starbucks did something like this a while back. They had a $5 Pop-Tart, and I say Pop-Tart, not Pop-Tarts. So, for the price of one Pop-Tart, you could buy a box of actual Pop-Tarts. And it was okay. I think regular Pop-Tarts are better, but it was okay. And it feels like Walt Disney World is attempting to do it on their own. So, right. We'll see how that goes. I might try. The one with the hazelnut, with the bacon, sounds interesting. I mean, they both sound interesting, to be fair. But I worry that this is going to be an expensive dessert. And an expensive dessert of Pop-Tarts just does not inspire me. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Let's see. The littlest toys can enjoy grilled cheese sandwiches or turkey sandwiches, both served with potato barrels, aka tater tots, and mandarin oranges. For toys looking for more lighter options, they can grab one of these tasty bites at Woody's Lunchbox, or check out many of the other healthful offerings available at Disney's Hollywood Studios, including fresh fruits, vegetables, salads, and grilled meats and fish. Alright, let's see. They've got banana split yogurt parfaits, which look tiny but tasty. Layers of banana, vanilla, Greek yogurt with a hint of honey, fresh bananas, strawberries, pineapple topped with granola, chocolate chips. A delicious, healthful way to start the day. They look tasty. I don't... Again, some of these things makes me go, is it worth the money? They're not saying prices here, but we'll have to check it out. Like I said, when we go to Walt Disney World in September, we're really going to look at everything. We'll look at prices, and I'll have to make a call at that point whether it's something that's worth spending money on for me. It is something that I would eat. I love parfaits. At work, I get we have a large parfait. It's like this big. It's huge. And it's got like a vanilla yogurt, and it's got blueberries, strawberries, and granola. Fantastic. It's really tasty, and it's a huge portion. It's really good. And for a big guy like me, and I need the larger portion for me to really enjoy it. So, we'll see. I'll get back to you guys on that. So next up, they've got a... Wow, there's a lot. I guess this is going into one of the healthier options. They have a smoked turkey with tomato lettuce on multigrain bread. And basically, it's the quintessential lunchbox sandwich. It's light and fresh option. What gives you a kick of flavor, and apparently it has a creamy, what they're calling Dijonnaise, which I'm sure it's like a Dijon mayonnaise. Let's see, they've got soda floats at this lunchbox. So all toys would agree that the refreshing soda is a perfect nostalgic beverage. Basically, if you're not familiar with the soda float, essentially it's if you've ever had a root beer float, it classifies as a soda float. There are things called like Coke floats or cherry Coke floats, and basically it's just soda with ice cream. If you've never had it or you're not familiar with it. The last thing on this list is something that I really want to check out, and you know what? I'm tempted to bring my computer up and show you this. It's an alien sipper. If you've ever seen the Red Rose sipper that they initially launched, I believe it was at Disneyland, and now we can get it at Walt Disney World, either with a drink, and I think they actually sell it in gift shops now. They have an alien sipper now that has the claw coming down from the light and the aliens at the bottom of the cup, and it says, ooh, the claw on the side of the cup. And this says, alien sipper may be purchased and filled with any fountain drink or the signature Mystic Portal Punch. It's a Powerade Mountain Berry Blast with flavors of lemon, lime, and tangerine. It says the big kids can enjoy the backyard grown-up lemonade cocktail with cherry vodka, Odwalla lemonade, and black cherry puree, beer, or hard cider. I'm not sure which one I want to try. I do want the cup, because I'm a nerd like that. I do want the Red Rose cup, too, which I don't have. So let me see if I can't loosen this camera up here a smidgen, peoples, and see if I can't turn the thing a little. Nah, that's not going to work. Alright, so we'll just do it the hard way, shall we? Alright. Oh, man. Ah, there it is. Ha ha ha. There it is, people. Straight from my computer to the screen. The little alien with the cup. That looks really cool. And again, I'm a nerd. I must has. So, one of the things we've been talking about the last few days is we've been talking about our budget and what we can afford to do and what we can't afford to do. And you know what? This is hurting me. Stuff like this adds up and kills my spending budget for my personal enjoyment. But I want it. I want it on my display of cups and things like that. So that's gonna do me for news this week. It's just kind of a short, run through of some of the things that are going on. I'm sorry we missed last week. But, with the holiday and everything, we just had a lot going on, and I was like, I'm not going to stress myself. We're not going to put a video out this week. So, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you found some information insightful. Hope you all remember Dreamfinder. I'm going to leave you as I leave you every single week. I hope you never lose sight of one thing. This was all started by a mouse. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you all next week. Bye.